Hi Internet viewers, Frank Rauscher again. We are now starting to paint the Lazuli Bunting. I almost said the wrong one. We're going to go after the blue, and we're going to paint a lot of it in blue. So I'm going to show you how to do all that, and we will start with the first color, and I'll get you started on that and how we do it and so on. So we're starting to get to the end here, and it'll come faster than you think, but that's good. That's a good thing. We're progressing, and then I have to figure another item to do after this, or another bird or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. But right now we're going to use, I have Liquitex is what I use, and what I'm going to start with is the Liquitex Cerulean, I can't even get it out, blue, okay? And we're going to use a pea size of paint into a cup, and then I'm going to mix it with water, and I'll show you how to do that. I sort of did some trial stuff, but I'll do this in front of you so you can see how we go about doing it and trying to achieve exactly how we do it and so on. So if you'll hang in there with me, we will get started on that. And the other thing I'm going to ask you too is that if you have any interest in doing the bunting, I have kits available. I have patterns, I have feet, eyes, whatever you may need. And I have a catalog that's out there as well that lists all the kits that I have available and other items that you may be interested in. So if anybody is interested, if you please write to me, to my email address, and it's in the body of the description of this video, and I'll probably give it to you towards the end of the video as well, so you can have it. And if you could also, if you like the videos that I've been giving you so far, I would ask you to subscribe to my channel. That really helps me out great in the algorithms of YouTube, and also in my count. And if you could give me a thumbs up, that also helps too. And also, if you have any comments, definitely, if you have any questions on anything, even previous stuff, I'll be willing to try to straighten things out if I confused you in some way or another. Try not to, but if I could get there, I will. Try to answer all the questions you may have. And I hope that you enjoy the videos that I have produced so far, and we're going to try to maybe do a couple little different wrinkles along the way here. I may do a Q&A to try to answer some of the questions. I've done individual videos where I showed you how to, well, we did it within the body of this one already, on sealing a carving. I also show you how to make feet if you're trying to do it competitively. I've done that as well. I've also done wood burning, where you do flat art wood burning rather than the wood burning on the carving. So I try to give you a little variety of things to try, and see if you like that too. I like to do watercolors. I do pen and ink. I've done pastels, acrylics, you name it. And I like flat artwork, so I do that as a change of pace too. So trying to, I don't think I'll get into the painting of flat art, but I would show you how to wood burn, and then I actually use the acrylic paint watered down like a watercolor, and then I've painted a lot of my wood burnings too. So there's ways around things, different things. So I've shown that already on, if you look into my different videos, you'll see that as well. So trying to give you a little diversion sometime from the carving, but today we're going to march on, and I will get you going on the Lazuli Bunting. It's a pretty bird, and we are going to be starting out painting today. So bear with me, and we'll be right there. All right. Now, on the last video, I was showing you where Stanley puts out these starter screws set up. So if you're screwing into wood, you have like a threaded end. It's almost like a screw attached to a rod. You can make these yourself by getting a block of wood and sticking a screw in. And if you have something that's got some length or a long screw, you can stick that in and it'll be sticking out, and you can make your own. I've done them myself, but these are very handy to have. You know, what you do is you screw it in, and how I showed you from one of the other videos before this is you pick the middle. Let me get this on white paper here so that you can see it maybe a little bit better. From the tail to the beak, halfway, that's usually where your legs enter into the body. Not always, but that's a good practice. That's generally where they are, and you can manipulate them to the setting you may have too. You can have one forward and one back and so on. So just want to let you know about that. If you see how I have this ghosting through the wood burning up in here and in here, I want to see this coming through when we go to paint it. We're going to put washes on here, and we're going to use Cerulean Blue as the main wash, and I'm going to get you started on that. We did the titanium white throughout, and we watered this down so it didn't come on as strong, but I have no problem with it being stronger in the wing area, the tail, the other wing, and the breast area. Okay, it's right from the head down. I try to have this wood burning effect that we have in here and in the mantle and the coverts in the back here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with a larger brush, or maybe I should start with a smaller brush, but we'll use the larger brush for mixing, so that we can, this is probably about in number 8. I can't even make this out. This brush has been used a lot and it's sort of beaten up, but it's a good brush for what I like to get my first washes in. But you may want to go with a little one, or at least something that's got a point to it. Let's see if I got, here's one here. This comes to a point. It doesn't have to be real sharp like some of mine. I have a couple favorites that I like for detailing, which I'll show you as we go. But just to get into certain areas and not have the wide brush, this is great. And we may start with this just around the head, because I'm not really trying to paint the beak right now. I'm going to try to do the head and so on. And the one thing I'm going to do too is show you how I clear the eyes from the paint, so that you have that off, so you don't have the problem later with this. So, and the only reason why I got this on here is just to show you, so that you don't hold it, and you know, you may put your hands on the piece if you're holding it. I like to do that sometime. You'll see me do it a lot, But I'll try to get you to do the right things this time out. And what we're going to do is we're going to paint certain areas on here, and I will try to show you the limits of what we need to do. For this video, we're going to go with just the one color right now, and we'll get that going, and I'll show you the steps that we want to achieve on that. Okay, now I usually have a container of water. I don't know if you see this or not, and I have a tray. Now, I've already mixed some of the cerulean blue, but I'm going to do it right from the get-go here. I have a paper towel because I like to dip it out, and sometimes when I want you to see the strength of the paint, and you dip it onto a paper towel, you can see how intense it is or how weak it may be, and so on. So here's the cerulean blue, and this could be any. I like Liquitex, but you can use almost any acrylic paint. That's the cerulean blue. So, and this is one I used to use a lot of. This color anyway for my sky when I paint it. And we're not doing skies today. We're doing the bird. So to mix this up, I have about a pea size in there. I'm going to fill this up with water about maybe halfway up, something like that. And I'll leave a little bit more water in another cup so I could go after that in case I need to water it down. So I'll wet my brush just to get going here. I'm going to get the paint, and I want to really mix this well. And that's the trick, is to really get your paint blended in there. So you can see how globs up and everything else. You really want to get this mixed down. Now sometimes when it doesn't want to dissolve into the cup with water, and I have a lot extra, I may put it off to the side, okay? Because if it takes so much, see how it's built up, I'll take the excess off over here and let it sit. Okay? And I try to get the excess out of there, and that can sit there like that. Now I'll rinse my brush out, and you can see how the water really turns blue. So when we go for other colors later, that's why I just went right now. I want to get the if you notice, I'm rinsing my brush out to try to get most of the paint out, okay? But I shouldn't have done that because I'm going to come back in here just to make sure I got this all diluted in here, and it looks like most of it is. Okay, now this may be heavier than I want, but we're going to find out. Now, what I mean by heavier, now I ran my brush through here. I took the excess off, okay? Now I'm going to touch that. Now, see how with water, how it really doesn't, it isn't real dark. And over here, when I put it down, you can see it really stains. It gets that, even with water, it's pretty solid. Now, I do want some transparency of that color in here. So what we'll do is, at this point in time, I'm going to rinse this brush out, and I'm going to go with the smaller brush. Now, the only limits I want to try to get you into here is, and I'm going to try to help you out here a little bit. And that's going to be, from my original one, I'm going to take a measurement. Let's see how far down. I think it's about an inch down from the, yeah. Now, what I'm going to try to achieve is I'm measuring from the beak down about an inch. So it's going to come down about a quarter of an inch past where we did the wood burning, okay, is where the blue's going to come in. And because it's in a tight area here, I don't want to blue the beak. Oh, wait a minute, I forgot something in between here. Let me just get my brush here. I'm going to get the small one, and I'm going to go into the eye area here and wet it and see if it breaks it up. If it doesn't, I'll show you how to handle this. Okay, it's not moving. So what I do is I get it like an X-Acto knife or something like that. And bear with me one second. I'm going to get my Optivisor, which gives me more visual. I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to run my knife slowly over the glass without trying to scratch it. I'm just sort of gliding over the surface, because between the titanium white we put on there and the glaze, the spray from the 1301, it should protect the glass eye. And I'm going to break that sort of seal we have on there and get all the white out of there. Okay. If there's any putty, which I think I have a little bit of, I don't know. It just seems like it's fighting me there. There we go. Yeah, most of the time with the quick wood, there's not a problem there. Now I'm going to come on this side, and I'm just not doing this hard. I'm just skimming it right across the eye. Okay, and I'm getting down, but I don't want to disrupt that membrane around the eye. Okay, now that I did that, I'm going to get my brush into the plain water, come in here, clean that up, get that out, come on this side, get that out. Now your eyes are nice and sharp. Now, I'm going to use the smaller brush initially, just around so I can keep most of the blue off. I'm going to come into the paint, and let's see how it goes on top here. I'm going to start painting. I'm going to lay this in here like this. Now that was about a pea size, and the excess I put over here after I tried mixing it well, okay? So I'm coming in here. I'm going to go right through the eye area again, so feel free to paint the eye. Don't worry about that. We'll clean it up just like I did a minute ago here. I'm coming in here. And I'll drag this down. Just to do it around the beak here with the smaller brush, okay? If you notice, I still have the handle, and I tend to go by holding the bird. It's my nature that I end up holding the bird rather than when I'm painting. I shouldn't. You never want to get your hands into the paint if you could possibly help it. So I'm trying to cruise all around here and keep off of the beak. There's no harm if you get it on the beak. So let me say that there's no problem to that, okay? I'm just trying to be finicky, but you could get the blue on the beak. It won't hurt it, because we're going to paint over it anyway. The only place you got to concern yourself with not getting it is the boundary, and the only boundary you have with the blue, other than the wings, is right in here. When I come in here, I'm going to come up and get some paint on my brush. If you notice, you see I take the excess off, so it's not runny. I don't want paint to run. I want to control it. Let me come down this way. We'll do it this way. I'm coming down where the burn stopped. I'm going to say go down about 1/4 of an inch more. Okay. And I'm going to come around here like this, about 1/4 of an inch more than the burn in length, like in here. And if it doesn't go on too even, we'll come back and revisit this area. Okay. But we'll probably give this a couple of coats, so it's not like, you know, everything's got to be just so. But we like to get it on as even as we can. Now, like I said, the burn is right here, and it stops right there, and I'm just dragging this out just a little bit more. We may come back to feather these edges later, where you sort of have them poking out, so there's no even line going to cross there. There is no even line. Okay. Now, if you ever get oils from your hand onto here, sometimes the paint doesn't want to adhere. Yeah, with a couple of coats, we'll get there. Now, I'm going to switch over to the bigger brush because we got more area to cover. We're covering everything on the top here. So I'm just going to rinse my brush out, pick up a good amount of paint, and I'm coming in here. I'm coming along here. Like this. Now I'm trying not to go on to the breast. If you do, we can always paint it white later, but now this is really looking wet, and I should have took the excess off. Exactly what I tell you not to do is what I did. Okay, you don't want to have a fully charged brush, and I want you to come right on up to where the wing is here, as it lays right up against the breast. Now see, I got a little bit of blue there. I'm not worried about that. I'll come back later, but I try to keep the blue out of there. See, now I almost did it again. I'm going to just drag my brush on the edge so I have paint on there, but not to the point that I want it to run, because we have a lot of water in there with the paint. Okay, and now I'm coming into the tail area, and I'm coming down, and I see how it was real runny there. So I'm going to try to get all of this nice and even. Take the excess off, okay? So you're not real runny. You can see, still see it, as much as I took off, it still looks wet. So you want a controlled wash here. So now when we come down to the wing here, I want you to And you see the ghosting that's happening on the head here? I want that feathering to show through, that wood burn effect that we have, okay? I want to get all the nooks and crannies of the carving. Let me check one other thing too. Yeah, okay. There we go. And I'll come in again, charge up the brush, get the excess off, and then we'll come in and do this side. Okay. And you don't want it applied so wet that it runs onto your all over the place. You don't. You want to keep it controlled. See, and you can see I have a nice even coat in there for the most part, you know. And if it looks like it's building up a little bit, you can always, your brush does act as a sponge sometime, and will pick up the paint again. Now, I'm going to ask you to come in carefully, get the edge of the wing, don't go into the rump area. We're only doing the top of the tail, and I want to get the edges, so be nice and easy with these, and this edge as well. Okay, then we'll turn this around. And I want to get that edge. And if I don't want to see any white, if I can possibly help it. Okay, so there's a nice, pretty good even coat all the way around. Okay, so if you have that, and I missed something right here, so I'll come in. Let me just get a little bit on my brush, take the excess off, especially down here. I don't want that loaded up. And I'll do a little there. And I think that's pretty good right there. That's one coat. So I'm gonna rinse my brush out. Always rinse your brushes out to get the excess paint out so that it keeps your brushes fresh. Now, I'm going to come in with a hair dryer, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to blow away from the brushes and my mix and get it going that way. So that's why you're seeing what I do. I don't want to blow the air over my paint or my brushes so it dries in there, okay? So here we go. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to, it may be, you may see when it dries, it's lighter in some spots than others, and that'll happen, and that's fine, because we're going to give it a second coat. And this bird isn't, I find, as difficult to paint as other birds, but they all have their little oddities, you know, that pop up. But it's a pretty color to start, and I want to make sure everything's dry. And I could see I missed a spot or two. I could see a little white speck in there, but that's okay. We'll get it. So I'm going to dry this pretty good and give it a little bit more time than I normally do, just to make sure it's nice and dry. Okay, I have not done anything on the bottom of the tail because it's a different color under there. Okay, now I'm going to come back again and I'm going to give it a second coat. I'm looking at the top of my head, and I'm pretty good on the coloring here, and I'm the coloring or the shading of the burn in the mantle I want to show sort of reflects feathering in there. It's so subtle that I want it to show through. So I'm going to keep this a little more watered down, but we'll go a little heavier in here. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to do the wings first this time. So I'm going to use the larger brush. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to try to stay off the mantle. I'm going to give this, I'm going to see how this looks. I'm going to come right down. And the mantle is right along here. Okay. I don't want to go too heavy on the covert. So if it looks like it's starting to lose some of that, I just rinse my brush out, and I can do it with clean water as well. Then I could come in and I can pick some of this blue out that I just painted in here so that it still shows that feathering coming through, okay? So it's the wing I'm mainly interested in. Now I see a little spot right in here. I'll take the excess off. I'll hit that and get that right. Now I'm going to come back on the wing area again. Take the excess off. Come right back in here. And give it a second coat right in here. Okay. Right in that area. I'm going to come around to the wing here. Make sure I got all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to get a little bit more, take it. But I want it runny now. Oop. See, now I got some paint right there. So what I could do is clean my brush out with the little one. And if I'm concerned with that, see how I just picked it up? That spot goes away just that fast. So just to let you know how to do a fix or a cleanup. And we can always catch it later too, but I just want to show you that. I want to get these edges. There's a white spot right there that I want to cover. There's a little bit right as the tail turns. Right there. Okay, now that's pretty good. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to do the tail now. Okay. Like so. Now, what I'm going to do is give it a watered down coat. So I'm going to take some paint from here, put it in the cup here. Okay. And that's the regular mix, okay, not this excess. I'm going to rinse my brush out, get most of the paint out. I'm going to come in with the clear water right here, mix that in, just to dilute this. Now watch when I put this down on the paper towel. See how lighter it is compared to the darkness when we first started with this mix over here. So I'm going to come in here. I am going to do the face again. One more time. And the mantle. Maybe I should add a little bit more. That really, let's see how, yeah, a little bit more. Let's see if I can water that down just. I'll try to get you the right stain. No, that ain't getting it. Boy, that really got watered down, didn't it? Let's mix it again. This is the play we do here. And I'll touch that. Okay, I'm gonna go with that. So I'm gonna give the face down through the mantle. I don't want any streaking going on. I'm trying to get a nice even coat. And if you notice, I brush from the front to the back, and I even dip my brush onto the paper towel so it's not so runny neither. That's another way to control. And I come in here and I'm seeing through the feathers that are here and on the face. Now in this area here under the chin, I'm going to make this just a hair heavier. See, it's a little more dense. I'm going to come up in here. I'm going to take that down, but I'm not going to go all the way to where we ended before. I'm going to just drag that on. We may come in with another color, making this a hairy line through here later. Okay, so let me, I hope you can see this well. I have the mantle showing through, it's lighter, and then this is heavier down in here, and then the coverts are lighter, and then your tail is darker and your wing is darker. Okay, so that's what we're looking for right there, and you can almost see a line. Okay, and if you want, you can soften right along the mantle line here, that edge. If it gets too like a hard edge, I like to soften that a little bit like that. So that looks like where we should be, and I'm going to dry this again. So I'm letting my hair dryer aim upward towards the bird, and I don't want it to be on the brushes or the paint. The best thing is, see, I'm doing this in front of you, so I'm trying to stay in the camera range, but I would normally just take this off to the side, away from the paint and away from the brushes, and just use the hair dryer as a distance away from both, so it doesn't affect any of the paint. Because you don't want to dry the paint in the tray, and you don't want to dry any paint that may be in your brush. You always want to rinse your brushes out. It'll give it a longer life if you do that. Okay? Now, for those, we'll probably come back and maybe have to do a little enhancing. So I'm going to try to show you. I'm going to stop this now and let it just dry, but this is where we want to be so you can see it. Okay, I have not touched anything on the underneath side or the breast area, but I did come into the throat. We heavied up the wings, the tail, and the wings on this side. And I noticed I missed a spot that doesn't seem to want to grab, so I'm going to get my smaller brush and go right in here. For some odd reason, it didn't want to take there. Let's see. So I'll do a little touch up if I have to get what I may have missed. Okay, so that's what I want to accomplish on this first go around. Okay, if you could get this much done, that would be great. And then we'll go on to we have a few more colors to go. We're gonna be painting the face too as well. It has a mask that you'll see developed as well, and the beak. There's a lot of black up in here, and there's black in the wings and in the tail. So, and then we got a real bright, like an orange that goes into the breast area here, plus a couple other colors. So I hope you got this down. It's I'm trying to show you the stains here, and we got this thing going pretty good. It comes pretty fast. This isn't what I call a harder one to come up with as far as painting. Some birds can be really tricky. This, I think, is what I consider easier to do. Okay, so I hope you got something out of this one. If you have any questions or anything, fire away. If you need anything as far as the kits or how to do this, the videos are going to be following to keep you going, and if you need anything, brushes or paint or the kits or anything like that, definitely contact me. My email address is Rauscher, RAUSCHER, Frank, FRANK 7 @gmail.com. And I hope you got something out of it. If you did, definitely give me a subscribe to my channel, and then if you could give me a thumbs up, that would be very helpful too. And I'll see you in the next video, and we'll be marching on to get the rest of the colors on. Okay, so see you on the next video.